this stupid, fat Karen bitch convicted of a felony for helping a domestic abuser evade ICE.
A judge in Wisconsin has been arrested and charged for allegedly obstructing ICE agents. Judge Hannah Dugan is accused of helping an undocumented immigrant avoid arrest.
You just look at her, you know she did it. You do. That's all you have to do. You just look at them, you know if they did it or not. She did it.
Today, a whole new level. Today, the FBI arrested a county judge in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. According to the FBI, this judge knew that Trump's immigration agents were outside her courtroom waiting to arrest a man who was before her court. They say she sent the immigration agents away from her hearing room and then escorted the man and his lawyer out of the courtroom through a private exit.
Hi, good morning, Jackie. Well, prosecutors say the video shows the escape with the black-robed judge sworn to uphold the law, instead breaking it.
Well, let's get to that verdict on the felony count. The jury
You look at her. Did she do that? She absolutely did it. It's not even a question. I don't even know what. Did it even need a trial? Like, I tell you right now, she's guilty.
decided Dugan is guilty of obstructing a federal agency.
Oh.
Here's a quick message from the sponsor of this video, ZocDoc. You ever do anything weird,
so
something's
glad about
off?
this.
Your eyes swollen, your neck got a weird pain, or you have a cold that just won't quit. And instead of calling a doctor, you scroll TikTok and YouTube like that's gonna fix it. Or maybe you're just too busy. You think it'll heal on its own. Or you're like, I don't know which doctor to go to. Trust me, I've made every excuse in the book too. But now I use ZocDoc, and it makes things a lot easier. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and instantly book appointments. We're talking about over 100,000 doctors from across every specialty, from mental health, dental, primary care, urgent care, you name it, they got it. And with ZocDoc, you can filter by insurance, see who's nearby, and check real reviews from verified patients. Now, simply just pick your time slot, and boom, appointments usually happen between 24 and 72 hours, sometimes even the same day. Now, full disclosure, I personally use ZocDoc, and the doctor that I go to now, I found on ZocDoc. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments. Go to ZocDoc.com/Nate the Lawyer. The link is in the pinned comment or in the description of this video. Now, back to the story. So first, let's start in Milwaukee, where Judge Hannah Dugan seems to be in trouble with the feds for trying to help an illegal immigrant evade ICE. Now, to really understand this story, I think you need to understand why this guy was there in the first place. Here is Pam Bondi, Attorney General of the United States. She's going to explain it.
It was appalling to all of us what happened. I used to be a domestic violence prosecutor. And
so this guy got charged. He's getting charged for domestic violence, and she's helping him get away?
Case involved someone who was deported under President Obama, came back into our country, we don't know when, illegally. And he was living at a residence, and he beat up a man so badly he had to go to the hospital, his roommate. He punched him with a closed fist in the face 30 times. The victim fell to
30 times? The guy's a fucking psycho.
Ground, and he choked him. Then the girlfriend came in, tried to break it up. He punched a woman in the face with a closed fist so hard she fell to the ground. He hit her in the arm. Both of them had to go to the hospital. The fight's broken up. They're taken to the hospital, and he's threatening to do further harm to them later. So she's a sitting judge on a domestic violence case.
And she let this guy go.
He's the defendant, Ruiz, 2 victims and a prosecutor, a state prosecutor in the courtroom. It is routinely done when people are picked up on any kind of warrants that it's done outside a courtroom. It's been done in that courthouse. It's been done in a courthouse where I prosecuted.
I don't know why there are so many white women that constantly go out of their way to allow these criminals and these violent people to exist in society. It's like, I feel like just overwhelmingly, if I look at the amount of people that are like trying to support this or advocate for it, it is overwhelmingly white women. It is. And like, I could say, I'm white, right? I can say that. It's so obvious. Everybody knows this. It's white guilt. I think it is too. It's actually, they've been psyoped by white guilt so bad that they're siding with domestic abusers. Isn't that crazy? How do you do that?
The reason?
Oh my God.
Executing a warrant is one of the most dangerous things law enforcement officers can do. You never know what you're going to encounter behind that door, what kind of weapons, with any defendant. So the safest place to do it is if you know they're going to be in a courthouse because they've gone through security.
Now, I want to let you listen to MSNBC and how they're describing what happened. Listen to Rachel Maddow.
If Trump's immigration agents are staking out courthouses to grab people, to kidnap.
You see, like, all the emotional language. I think this is what happens, is that they use this trumped up, super charged emotional rhetoric, and then women watch this, and then they get they get emotionally manipulated by it. They do. They're getting emotionally manipulated by this rhetoric, and now they're siding with and trying to help illegal aliens fucking evade arrest. That's it. It works for centuries. It's so embarrassing.
People.
I just want to be clear. No one was kidnapped.
They're being kidnapped. Jesus Christ.
Arrested.
Yeah.
He's not been kidnapped. And the second thing I want to mention is that she's not going to mention the victims, but she's saying him being arrested for his immigration issues is kidnapping. But let me let her continue.
Once they show up to take part in a lawful court proceeding, that stops judges from fulfilling their responsibilities under the law for what happens with their cases and in their courtrooms. Now, this was also a point of tension in Trump's first term. In Trump's first term, he also sent immigration agents to go to try to arrest people at their court appearances. And it was a flashpoint then. State judges have a duty to ensure the safety of the people who appear before them in court, whether as plaintiffs or defendants or witnesses.
It's so obviously dishonest. It's unbelievable. It is. This is crazy.
Well, today, a whole new level. Today, the FBI arrested a county judge in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. According to the FBI, this judge knew that Trump's immigration agents were outside her courtroom waiting to arrest a man who was before her court. They say she sent the immigration agents away from her hearing room and then escorted the man.
I wish that somebody could just buy the house next to where she lives and then put 10 illegal aliens that are undocumented, that have a prior history of violent crime, and have all of them live next door to her house. I think that would be perfect. It would only cost like maybe $1 million, $2 million, right? Like, Trump should just do this. Proper punishment? Absolutely. She would sign off on that? Yeah, at first.
And his lawyer out of the courtroom through a private exit. For that, the Trump administration has arrested her and charged her with 2 felonies.
We should.
So, as you see, Rachel Maddow didn't bring up the fact that he's here illegally. She didn't bring up the fact that he's in court on a domestic violence beef.
This video is so good, by the way, because he's playing it. Yeah, and it's like she doesn't even include this information because it's not about, this is the reason why everybody hates people like her. It's because they're lying. They're lying and misrepresenting things intentionally in order to make people think something that isn't true. That's what they do.
Because he's punched someone 30 times, as it says here. Now, you have to love the way Rachel Maddow spun this.
We don't hate journalists enough.
She's trying to make the argument that by helping this guy, this domestic batterer, evade ICE agents, that was in some way protecting him from being kidnapped. Talk about a stretch.
No, and this is the emotional manipulation that you see. Like, whenever you see like all these fat Karens doing some big rally to free all of the violent criminals and illegal aliens, whenever you see one of these happening, just know that this is the way that it's happened, is that they watch shows like Rachel Maddow or something like that. And, basically they just see that, they watch Rachel Maddow and they turn into mad cows. And then they go out and they cause a bunch of problems for everybody. And it's insane that we even take these people seriously, even for a second. It is. It's so obnoxious and annoying. I can't believe it.
Fans and you guys
mad
don't
cow
like
disease.
To hear the spin. You want to see the videotape. So let's go to the videotape.
I do. I hate them.
So the courthouse released the surveillance tape to show us exactly what happened this day in this particular courthouse in Milwaukee. All right, so first things first, this is the suspect, Eduardo Flores Ruiz. And he has a court hearing today based on the information you heard earlier of him punching somebody 30 times and beating up his girlfriend. He's been arrested and is being prosecuted by the good people in Milwaukee. Now, when ICE becomes aware of his arrest and detainment, they go to Milwaukee
come and get him,
to pick him up because he happens to be in the country illegally. So
no way!
On April 18th at 8:16 a.m., federal officers went to the courthouse in Milwaukee. The first two officers positioned themselves outside of the courtroom, and they were later met by two other officers who were serving in a backup role.
Need to build Guantanamo Bay 2.0 for these folks. I think that the biggest punishment that you could give them is to give them the make sure that they have to live with the consequences of their own narrative. Make sure that these people have to live with the chaos and discord and violence and risk that their worldview enables. That's the best way that you can punish them.
At 8:39 a.m., Ruiz comes to the courthouse and clears the metal detectors. So now law enforcement knows he doesn't have any weapons, and it's going to be easy to take them because they have multiple officers.
Yeah,
now,
sure.
at exactly 8:40, 1 minute later, you see Judge Dugan on the camera get into her courtroom. Now, at exactly 3 minutes after the judge
is her
gets
talking
there,
to him?
she puts on her robe and runs outside and tells the ICE officers to go to the chief judge's office.
Isn't it also like kind of it's a weird thing that she's out there talking to the people that she's going to be passing judgment on, right? Like, I think that's kind of weird to do anyway. It feels like kind of a conflict of interest.
And then the
DOJ
judge
tweet. Let me finish
sends
this.
the
I'm gonna
three
read it.
other agents who are down the hall
Yes, there he
also
is.
to the chief judge's office. Now, after the ICE agents went to speak to the chief judge,
That's an ICE agent?
Dugan pulled a whole
was
bunch of
it?
tricks.
Okay.
First, he postponed Ruiz's hearing about the whole beating the guy up and beating up his ex-girlfriend and instructed him to leave through a non-public entrance.
Oh, there he is.
So he can avoid ICE agents. So while the agents
So
are
they're leading him away, trying to actively help him evade the police. Oh my
talking
God!
to the chief judge,
See, this person also needs to go to needs to be charged too. You need to, again, if you want to make this stuff stop, you have to go Old Testament on them. You have to go Old Testament on them, and you have to completely obliterate and ruin their lives in the most absolute and serious sense possible. You put them in jail for 10, 20 years. You totally destroy their life. And if you do that, this stuff is going to stop happening. And by the way, this is the moral position. I am the moral person, and let me explain why. This is a domestic abuse, violent criminal. If you let this person out, you are potentially putting other people's lives in danger. This is the same as like drunk driving in a way, where like basically you're endangering everybody else just by driving. And you can say, oh, well, I'm doing it all the time. Well, that's nice. Okay, go in the box now. That's it. It's honorable punishment. And so this is the reason why you do this. Advocating for violence? Yes, you are. And so hold them all accountable. Deport them with the person they defended. That's the moral position. Well, I don't know if we can do that. I'd rather just put them in prison and force them into manual labor. That would be my preference. They threw away our career over a nobody. Yeah, well, what I'm saying is that you have to do it to such a extreme and brutal degree that people are afraid to do it. You have to be so brutal and so extreme and so dramatic about the way that you treat these people that nobody will ever even consider doing it. That's how you handle it. Because these people are trying to, they don't care if they kill you or your family or your parents or your kids with their suicidal, narcissistic, pathological empathy. They will sign you up to be terrorized, brutalized, and murdered by an illegal immigrant to satisfy their pathological, narcissistic empathy. That's what they'll do. That's exactly what they will do. You need to Old Testament these people. Throw the book at them and then go even farther than that.
Ruiz is slipping
That's what I
out
would
the
do.
back door. You're looking.
I'm so mad. Like, in my opinion, Karen logic. Yes, exactly. It's Karen logic. Why not just put him in solitary confinement permanently? Just do that. Why not?
At the actual footage for those of you who have any questions. Now, I have to pause.
And you have to be cruel. You have to be cruel. And if you don't, they'll do it to you. Because they're the ones that are truly cruel. They're the ones that will ruin society so they can feel good about themselves. That's right.
It right here for 1 second, because you see this guy right here? Well, he's a federal agent, and he
give them
just
what they
stood
give us.
by the
Yes, say
courtroom
strict, not
just
cruel.
in case some funny business happened. And now Ruiz is walking past him.
I hate this
about
stuff
to
so
leave
much.
The courthouse, and what does he do? Well, he follows Ruiz. Now Ruiz leaves the building, but ICE agents are outside, and he is arrested.
Gotcha, bitch.
So the FBI and the Department of Justice,
they just ran his ass down.
We just saw and said, hey, this judge has committed a crime, and we're going to arrest her. Here is NBC explaining it.
Federal authorities reportedly arrested.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think that's why we have so many weak men? They never think that. They never think about being that way, so we don't know how to deal with it when it's on our doorstep. We have to learn how to be brave again. I think that people have been defeated by peace, and they've been defeated by a degree of safety that is so, like, we have more safety in our lives now than anybody has ever had in the history of time. Things are so safe and everything is so okay that people can't even comprehend the idea of violence happening or bad things happening. That's what it is. The West is domestic. Yes, we've been domesticated. Exactly. And so whenever we deal with people that are, not domesticated, right? Violent criminals, people assume that there's like a broader reason for it. They try to come up with extra examples for it, or like, why it's like not their fault. That's what happens. The UK could fix their illegal boat immigrants by blowing up the boats instead of letting them onto the shore. Well, they're going to do that. That's where things are going. It's going to happen. It's not going to happen yet, but very clearly there are so many people in Europe that are becoming radicalized that eventually the policy for the government will be to blow up the boats and sink the boats. That's what's going to happen. I can promise you that. And it will probably happen in less than 10 years.
Arrested a Milwaukee County Circuit judge this morning for allegedly...
And it would have never happened if they had just treated it with the degree... Like, it would have never gotten to this point if they didn't treat it like being mad at these migrants coming over and living off of your fucking country is racism. This would have never happened.
Assisting an undocumented migrant. In a since-deleted tweet from FBI Director Kash Patel, he said this judge was arrested on charges of obstruction related to an immigration arrest.
That's right. So Judge Hannah Dugan is the person who's been arrested here, facing 2 counts. The court paperwork was just unsealed. Obstructing or impeding a proceeding before a department or agency of the United States and concealing an individual to prevent his discovery and arrest, at least according to the information that the federal prosecutors and the FBI has alleged here in the course of their investigation. She moved this individual who's wanted by ICE, for which there was an active and a arrest warrant for, to be removed from the United States, moved him through the jury door, allowing him to effectively evade ICE agents. This individual was facing criminal charges, 3 misdemeanor counts related to physical assault. And so that's why they were in the courthouse in the first place.
Now, a federal grand jury indicted the judge on those 2 counts, and then the judge pleaded not guilty to those charges, but said she was immune from prosecution because she was acting in an official capacity as a judge.
We take that away.
Judge has pleaded not guilty to federal charges related to her allegedly helping a man evade immigration authorities. Hannah Dugan was indicted this week on charges of obstruction and concealing an individual to prevent arrest. Dugan's attorneys are moving to have the case dismissed, arguing her actions were in her official capacity as a judge and that she has immunity from criminal prosecution, citing that 2024 Supreme Court decision in President Trump's favor.
So now, to make a long story short, the judge's motion was denied. She did not have immunity like the president.
Oh, wow. Too bad, huh?
The United States, because she wasn't the president.
The fat bitch needs jail time? Absolutely she does. Absolutely. We need to punish people for claiming not guilty whenever they're shown to be guilty? Well, I don't know. I feel like it's a court proceeding, right?
He's just a judge. So she went to trial, and the jury didn't buy the whole, hey, I'm a judge and I can do whatever I want. They convicted her on the felony count. But they...
Man, you love to see it.
Did acquit her on a misdemeanor, which is kind of not really great for the judge because you'd rather be convicted of the misdemeanor and not the felony, but they convicted her of the felony.
I'd say the felony's usually worse.
Well, good evening. Welcome into our CBS 58 studios, and we start tonight with breaking news on the verdict in the trial of Judge Hannah Dugan.
Judge Dugan was accused of trying to hide an undocumented immigrant from immigrations and customs enforcement agents in the Milwaukee courthouse.
Yeah, that happened in April of this year, bringing national attention to Milwaukee amidst heightened tensions over immigration enforcement in the United States. It spurred questions over whether immigration enforcement agents should be able to arrest people in courthouses.
They absolutely should be able to. Why would, and here's the question, right? If somebody's not even supposed to be in the country, why are we wasting time with our legal system, sending them through this entire process when they're not even supposed to be here? That's stupid. The first thing we should do is it should say, are you supposed to be here or not? And if you're not supposed to be here, then you get kicked out. It's stupid. It's a waste of resources. It's a waste of time. And this is what happens, right? Is that this is the reason why we have such a massive problem with dealing with these migrants and these illegal aliens. The reason why is because basically what the government did prior to Trump is that they just let these people come in mass, right? And so they created a problem that if you applied every rule inside of the system to give these people due process, this would be effectively impossible to do. That's why they're complaining about due process, is that they ignore due process to let these people come in mass, but then they want to have due process to have them removed. And this is a tactical decision that they're doing and a tactical thing that they're advocating for, because this is something that is meant to basically grind everything to a halt by just adding in so many processes and so many levels of obfuscation that you can never actually solve the problem. Due process for citizens, not illegals. I don't think we should give illegals due process either. I think we should just send them out or send them to work camps. That's it. If they're not supposed to be here, they should be happy if they're getting sent back to their own country. And by the way, that's the way a lot of other countries do it right now anyway. So like whenever I'm advocating for this and people think that I'm being extreme, that's not extreme at all. Many countries in the world do this right now. Horrible take? It's not. Somebody shouldn't be here if they're illegal. It's that simple. What are they doing here if they're illegal? Isn't due process to find out whether they're here illegally? Well, I mean, if they do find that out, yeah, of course. I mean, like, what I'm saying is that due process is not the same for everybody, right? Like, the process to remove an illegal is different than the process to put somebody who's, like, a murderer in jail, right? So, very clearly, you should apply the process for the situation at hand. But these people want to create infinite levels of processes because they want to protect these people from being removed from the country. These people don't actually care about due process. They only care about the process being used as a tool to make it harder for their opponents to achieve their goal. That's it. They don't actually care about due process.
Let's get to that verdict. On the felony count, the jury decided Dugan is guilty of obstructing a federal agency. On count 2, a misdemeanor, the jury decided the judge is not guilty of concealing someone to prevent arrest.
So this
somebody says, is there a specific reason why it made you care as much about illegal immigration? I feel like most people don't care either way. The reason why, I see a lot of the second order effects that illegal immigration has. Like, for example, fraud, crime. You have, school systems, emergency systems that are effectively also like overwhelmed by the amount of people that are in the system, right? Like, you go to an emergency room, there's a bunch of people that can't speak English there. Probably a lot of them are illegal. Like, I know it's not politically correct to say, but we all know this is true. And so anyway, there's that. There's, you go to the DMV, you have the same relative problems, right? And you have the housing issues as well. And then also, like, I live in Austin, Texas, and I've seen the effects that mass illegal migration has had on Austin, Texas. And it's been bad. It's been bad. Like, and I know how it is because I've seen it happen. And so a lot of these people that live in like these northern states, they don't really know, the effects of mass migration or anything like that because they don't have those people coming here. It's unnecessary stress. Yeah, exactly. And I think more than half the country doesn't like illegal immigration. And the reason why I'm so extremely against it and why I hate the people that are doing it so much is that I view it to be a profound betrayal of your country and of your other countrymen. Whenever you are signing your country up to have to pay for like infinite foreign illegals and, like effectively like making them compete for housing and everything like that, it is an effective betrayal of your country. by supporting this, by advocating for it, and by promoting it. And I'm not talking, everybody always likes to misunderstand and say that, oh, well, what about the legal immigrants? Nobody's even talking about that. It's not even part of the conversation. Like, we're talking explicitly about illegal migration and illegal immigrants. So that's it. Go to jail and get some. Yeah, exactly. People who don't care are stupid. Well, I think that they don't see it as a direct problem because they probably haven't thought about it a lot. But like, if you think about it, you're going to see how that's how it is. Or see, that's the way it is, like 100%. Wasted resource processing all the illegals through the system, so many secondary and tertiary effects, pouring that many resources into it. Exactly. And it's all done by design. This is what I said before about how Karens like to create bureaucracies to avoid accountability. This is a great example of it.
Convicted of the felony. So if you think about it, that is like the worst case scenario because she has a law license that now is probably going to be suspended because she's a convicted felon. Then you also have something like her judgeship. You know, how many convicted felons can be judges?
Ashley, who testified in the Dugan trial, would not say whether he would ask for Dugan's resignation. In an emailed statement from a spokesperson, Ashley said it would be inappropriate for me to comment. Judge Dugan remains prohibited from exercising the powers of a circuit court judge under an existing order of the Wisconsin Supreme Court, which remains in effect.
And what about things like your rights to vote and your right to carry firearms? Like she's lost all of that. So this judge has some real issues on her hands when it comes to this particular issue because she is a convicted felon when she gets sentenced.
Gotcha, bitch.
And this case vindicates me a little bit because, mind you guys, I was just suffering with a brain tumor, right?
I thought this was the guy. I was wondering. I was like, didn't I see this guy on Twitter? So he's already back.
Case first came across my desk, I'm like, oh, she's obviously going to be convicted. And all my liberal friends, no, she's not going to get convicted.
Yep. Anybody supporting this shit, we need to do whatever we can to make them have to live with the consequences of this value. Like, this is why I was so happy whenever, they sent all those illegals to Martha's Vineyard and to, like, New York. We should keep doing that. We should overload their systems with illegals until it completely collapses them, and then we'll see how much they like it. That's what we should do.
No, Nate, you don't know what you're talking about. But guess what? She was convicted because the evidence was overwhelming.
Shit was funny,
and
exactly.
all those liberal attorneys that I know, they didn't have brain tumors, so I don't think they have that excuse. But
please stop busting him here in New York. Quit voting for people that want him to stay.
I think there's no other option because she did what they allege she did, and if you believe helping someone evade arrest when they're in the middle of their criminal activity is something that you should be okay to do, then I just disagree with you. I think she went too far in trying to
It's obvious that she went too far. It's not even a question.
Advocate, and she should have just been a judge.
Yeah.
Well, if you like this type of content over your election...
And this is the other thing. This is the reason, like, I hate this idea that we can't prosecute and go after judges. I think if you see a judge that's constantly making rulings and decisions that are biased and based off of, like, some sort of political goal, we should take that person and put them in jail. We should. I think that's a good idea. Because really, what is this person doing? This person is taking advantage of and co-opting the legal system in order to push their worldview. It's like, what's the difference between that and taking bribes? It's not really a big difference.
Subscribe to Look at YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer. I'm out of here.
Oh, yeah. I am a big fan of holding judges accountable. And I hope that's what happens. I want to see a lot more than that. And they bust a bunch here at upstate New York and kicked all the women out and that ad hoc women's shelter, Motel 6, and filled them with illegals. They completely destroyed the property within months. Good. Hopefully it gets worse. I am an advocate of hopefully make it as bad as possible. Make it as extremely unpleasant as possible. And that way, maybe people like that will start paying attention. Liberal link to video. Yeah, I've never watched any of Nate the Lawyer's videos before. This is my first one. And I really like this guy. I do. I mean, I think he's got the most... And he has such a reasonable take on it. Like, I mean, he's not like... I will pause his video of, like, legal analysis and be like, yeah, we should crucify this person. And it's like, okay, yeah, continue. And it's like, yeah, so she broke the law by doing this. Like, yeah, we need to put all these people in a jail and make them work for free. And it's like, like, my values on this are I don't think that, I think I'm moderate. I do. I think I'm the most moderate person. But unfortunately, in a world that's been radicalized, accountability seems to be extreme. Bring back burning on a stake. Would I want to burn people on a stake again? Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, public stoning too. Yeah, fun for the whole family. Exactly. Yeah, why not? Plug and hang it? Yes, eat their meat? Maybe. I don't know. It depends on if they taste good.